choices. We believe that workers deserve to collectively bargain for fair wages, safe working conditions, good health care, and secure retirement.
The Republican and Democrat conventions we just had, it says a lot who each party chose to put up on that stage. At the Republican convention, we were featuring everyday American workers, and of course, we had Hulk Hogan.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance both suffer from a similar condition, which is whenever they open their mouth or give a speech, it instantly backfires. And we saw that perfectly played out with J.D. Vance today when he gave a speech at a firefighters union in Boston. And I'll say that he didn't get the warmest reception, but it was a little bit worse than that. And we're going to check that out in just a second. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really goes a long way. And supporting the work we do on this channel now. It's not that just J.D. Vance got such a poor reception while speaking to this union. It's also the contrast that we see play out through this entire campaign. It was just yesterday when Tim Walz spoke to the very same union, in the very same room, and his reception was much different. So much so positive, in the incredible speech that he was giving, that Fox had to shut off their coverage of him, because it was just so great. And before we get to J.D. Vance, I want to check out Tim Walz so we can get a bit of that contrast choices.
We believe that workers deserve to collectively bargain for fair wages, safe working conditions, good health care, and secure retirement. No interference from government.
To Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. He's also the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic ticket. He's speaking to the firefighters.
Tim Walz's message resonates because it is his lived experience and he believes it. He has seen the effects of good policy in caring and working in your community through his time as a teacher, as a football coach, as a member of Congress, and as governor of Minnesota. He has seen the way that he can positively impact his community, and he cares about it, because his community has positively impacted him. He is a selfless person who wants to give back, unlike J.D. Vance, who just wants to take for himself under this guise of public service. J.D. Vance might be the most inorganic and really uncharismatic person I've ever seen. Everything that he says just comes off as strange and weird and forced, because it's hard to believe this person who just is so disingenuous, and that's why even J.D. Vance getting booed, which we're going to check out in just a second, maybe wasn't even the worst part of his entire speech, because when he tries to act like one of the guys or a normal person who isn't out to just take as much power as possible, he really just comes off as weird and no one wants to support that. And that's why we see strange moments like this.
The Republican and Democrat conventions we just had, it says a lot who each party chose to put up on that stage. At the Republican convention, we were featuring everyday American workers, and of course, we had Hulk Hogan. And while it's tempting, and I'm sure it would make some big headlines, don't worry, everybody, I'm not going to try to take off my shirt here.
The jokes feel so forced, and you heard just the dead silence from the crowd. No one thinks you're funny. JD, don't do jokes. Don't do politics either. We're kind of done with you. If you want to be hedge fund or a Silicon Valley guy, an investor, whatever you want to be. Just as Tim Walz would say, mind your own damn business. We don't want to be dealing with you and your weird ideas, and neither do the members of the firefighters union, who J.D. Vance was speaking to, because like I said, not a very warm reception from J.D. You can hear the boos as he comes off stage, really kind of booed off stage. And it was so great that we just have to check it out.
Well, Semper Fi, guys. We got some, it sounds like we got some fans and some haters. That's okay.
And again, there's that classic lack of charisma from J.D. Vance saying, I get some haters. What, just a weird guy. I remember that famous clip of someone, I don't know if they were booing. I can't remember they were booing, or they were shouting at President Obama. I believe they were booing. And he said, don't boo vote. And what? Such a perfect response from President Obama, clearly on a different level in a different stratosphere. Just a completely different game that he was playing, as an order, than J.D. Vance, who is one of the most uncomfortable speakers I have ever seen, but just kind of completely not ready for the moment there. And it's not the only example of JD getting booed. There was a lot of boo for JD Vance today. But luckily, it wasn't just for JD Vance, it was also for Donald Trump. What a great combo we get today to see JD Vance get booed, and also cause Donald Trump to get booed as well. Possibly the worst decision that's ever been made in the history of picking a running mate. I know Sarah Palin is certainly up there, but wow, JD Vance is a selection, one of the worst decisions Donald Trump has made. And that is clearly playing out right here in this clip.
Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history, and I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike.
The idea that Donald Trump, a billionaire who, not even sure if he's a billionaire, but a guy who made his money lying, stealing, cheating, and JD Vance, who's some Silicon Valley investor or pro-worker, I know he said the most pro-worker Republican ticket, but I think that's like an oxy. Can you be pro-worker and a Republican? I don't really think so. And clearly the members of the firefighters union there didn't think so. Huge boos we heard rang out for JD Vance and this clear lie that he is so supportive of workers. But again, what's so funny is it's not just bad for JD Vance, but it's horrible. In contrast to the message that Tim Walz was delivering about Project 2025 and the attacks that it will land on union labour, and the attacks that it will make on working families, and the efforts that it will make to only boost Donald Trump and his rich friends and giant corporations. And Tim Walz delivered that message to huge applause right here.
Look, I'll keep saying it. Words are cheap. Actions is all you should care about. Make sure you're counting on what was delivered. When Donald Trump was president, he blocked overtime benefits for millions of workers. He opposed efforts to raise the minimum wage, and he even proposed slashing budgets for federal fire service programs. Those are just simply facts. But look, it's not just what they've done, it's what they're going to do. This is the big thing. One of the goals of their Project 2025 is to screw the middle class, making it harder for workers to collectively bargain, allowing employers to drastically cut overtime or eliminate it. Slash taxes for the ultra-wealthy by imposing a national sales tax on the rest of us. Look, I've said this, I'm an old-time football coach. If you draw up a playbook, you plan on using it. Project 2025 is a plan to reshape what America looks like, moving away from the middle class and putting it right back on the oligarchs and the wealthy at the top. He said he's going to repeal the Affordable Care Act. That thing is pre-existing conditions. Those are things that make sure that our family gets health care. And for many of our families, and I know you don't get to participate in it, but your families do, my mom does, Social Security and Medicare are life-saving programs for them. Instead of funding those programs, they talk about cutting them. So here, this is what I always say. If you got $1 billion, you don't give a damn if your Social Security check shows up. But if you're like my mom, that's how you pay for your food. That's how you pay for your heat. That's how things get done. So that check, pretty damn important to protect it.
I love everything that Coach Walz says. As Coach Walz, I love it. It's great, especially the part where he says, you know, they want to run away from Project 2025. They want to pretend like they're not actually going to implement Project 2025. They're lying about it, but as a football coach, he knows someone draws up a playbook. They're damn well going to use it. And especially, they're damn well going to use it when JD Vance has been continuously caught on the record in leaked audio, talking about the plan to implement Project 2025. Listener viewer, I know you're smart. You know that they're not actually running away from this. We know that this is what they want to implement. But for those who don't, for those who need a little bit of convincing, and if you want to share this with a friend who does need that bit of convincing about the dangers of Project 2025, here's JD Vance talking about it.
I think that what Trump should do, like if I was giving him one piece of advice, fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every civil servant in the administrative state, replace them with our people.
I think Donald Trump's desire for complete loyalty to him shows a couple of important things about what his personality is, and I think it reveals the insecurities of Donald Trump a lot, because he always wants to make sure that everyone's supporting him, and he needs to do that because he isn't comfortable with himself enough. You know, he wants to act as a mob boss. He wants to hold power over everyone. He wants to work through fear, not through trust, not through building relationships, and it also shows what Donald Trump thinks our government is. You know, when he was president, he thought it was just a means to an end to enrich himself clearly. That's what he wanted to do. But it also shows that Donald Trump sees government as working for high-powered individuals like himself, instead of using power to make sure that that criminals are kept in check. Like Donald Trump, corrupt and a criminal. 34 counts always love to say that. But it really just shows what he thinks government is. And it's such an important contrast, not only just the dangers of Project 2025, what it will do, but who it serves, not just serving the rich and the wealthy, but showing that it only serves the powerful already. And that is such an important distinction to make as Tim Walz in Harris continue to talk about how they will fight for workers. Obviously, Tim Walz doing so in his speech to the union yesterday, and KLA Harris doing so every day on the campaign trail. It's clear who these two people are looking to serve in their administration. And the people that Donald Trump didn't serve. And that's why, as KLA Harris says, we're not going back. And if you want to support that message, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video.